Trying to catch me howling at the moon. Trying to catch me howling at the moon. Trying to catch me howling at the moon.
Hi there guys, welcome to episode 6 of the Drug Squadcast podcast, the podcast in which we talk all things addiction. I'm your host Kieran, as always, joined by Pete, the Hope Dealer, and Sam. So guys, how's life? How's things?
Life's good.
It's good. I've been in Evesham today. I took the kids down to All Things Wild.
Yeah.
You recommend it.
So who recommended that to you?
You.
Yeah.
No, it was alright. It was good. Good day out. Nice sunshine. It was alright.
Yeah, there's not nowhere I haven't been in the West Midlands with my little girl.
Yeah.
I've exhausted all options. I might start venturing out of the country, I think. But it's all a great time. Our last podcast, we had the technical issue with Melissa, and we weren't able to.
That's why it was a still. Like
Yeah.
Audio, wasn't it?
Yeah, just audio only. But I think despite of that, the podcast went down. I thought Melissa was absolutely brilliant. And Melissa, if you're listening, you were an absolutely brilliant guest.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I really enjoyed it. I've listened back to it a couple of times, and although the video wasn't there, and I know the video is important to us as a podcast because it's all about putting this on camera, putting the word out there, the audio content is just as
She
important.
was a good speaker, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was a good advocate for recovery.
I agree.
I really enjoyed it. Even I listened to it with my mum. We travelled back from Birmingham together. I took my mum out for her birthday. Something that I don't normally do, and she listened to it, and even she was interested.
To them on Spotify in the car anyway. I do.
Yeah.
When I listen to them all on Spotify in the car. Like,
We've been able to watch it yet. Watch the
older
videos,
ones.
yeah.
I don't like watching myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm still,
I can't watch it.
Oh no, I watch them intently.
it.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm only looking at how I look.
Yeah.
Used to, may as well not be there.
Yeah.
That's my issue. I'm not believing it. No.
Yeah.
Paddy's back.
Yeah. So just before we crack on the podcast then, so a quick update on the project. So I leave work 2 weeks today.
Cool.
Will be my last day at work, and me and my dad got some good news today about in the week, about our venue, which is going to open in town next to Ann Summers. It's
You said that like you was happy that it was next to Ann Summers.
yeah, but I just want people to know where it was,
You say
and everyone knows where Ann Summers is.
Yeah, if you say, "Oh, that ramp on the town," I was like, "Nah, Ann Summers." Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah. But then some people go, "Oh, where's Ann Summers?"
Yeah.
You know where it
Yeah,
is.
bright red, and they say it.
So we're very hopeful. So what they've said is that it takes from this point between 4 and 12 weeks. So we're trying to get people in to help with the turnaround, but it's hard to get people in without knowing a specific time. But things are moving in the right direction, and we will have the keys very shortly, and then we can start turning it around, and our venue will be up and running to try and support those suffering with addiction.
It's exciting.
Very exciting times. Very exciting times. This is the first time I've left my job under good circumstances.
Actually handed your notice in and
Yeah.
served your
And
notice.
my gaffer when I handed my notice into my gaffer, it's like I'd handed him a winning lottery ticket.
Yeah. Can't wait to get rid of you.
Yeah, he was delighted. I said, Mick, look a bit more sad, but he was delighted. But I'm leaving in good circumstances, which is such progress, I think, anyway. So
Yeah, definitely.
very exciting times going. And you know what I want to ask you to very quickly is, do you guys still think about drugs? Because I'm thinking about drugs a lot more recently, and I don't know whether that's a weird thing.
You might be under a bit of pressure.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, when you mentioned about dreams to me.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of using dreams.
What my experience with using dreams is there's two different experiences I used to have. Is one when I used to have using dreams and I used to wake up and I wished it wasn't a dream. I was usually in quite a bad place.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But
You wake up, you're not covered in crack.
Right, exactly, yeah. But when I used to have a using dream and wake up and I was glad it was a dream, I knew I was in a good place. So I was glad it never happened. But in the very early days when I used to wake up, just scored or, whatever, I had drugs on me, I was about to use them, and I'd wake up and I'd be gutted it was a dream, then I'm in a bad place. That was my experience.
Yeah, because I sort of woke up in a panic a couple of times
In a
this
panic
week,
as if like
like I'd actually use drugs.
But you didn't
And
want it to be.
No, I didn't want it to be real.
I think you're right.
Because I hear other people talk about using dreams, and they're, they say they've got loads of girls around, all the money and drink. None of them dreams are like that for me. It's just me on my own with loads of coke. There's no girls in it.
Yeah, some people.
Maybe it's just a reminder, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
where it takes you.
Or maybe
Do you know
I'm
what I
thinking
mean?
about that just before I go to sleep.
But it's good that you're thinking about how bad it is.
Yeah.
Like them dreams of
Yeah.
people saying, "Oh, it was like this and it was fun," and da-da. I think it'd be more worrying if it
Because
was that.
it was Monday night I had a real bad one, and Tuesday my nose was hurting all day. But it wasn't. It's in your head, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it mad?
Yeah.
I
You do have a problem sniffing that, don't you?
Oh no, I don't have a problem sniffing. I love it. That is the problem.
If I have a lot going on for myself though, if I have a lot of issues going on and I'm under a bit of pressure, I have the odd using dream. I don't know, I think it's my head's old way of trying to escape. That's how I would deal with things years
Yeah.
ago. So I physically won't let it happen in my life now, but my head has a way of making it happen through dreaming. I think that's sort of what's going on.
Yeah, so I woke up in a panic, but when I was using, I used to dream that I was clean, and I wake up in a panic and wish it weren't true, and I'll be using again.
Man, you dream a lot, you do.
I know.
You
I
love a
know.
nap, don't you?
I love a nap, yeah.
That's why.
I love a nap. I love to do nap roulette, where you just go to bed without setting an alarm, and when you wake up, you wake up.
Yeah.
Could be asleep for 6 hours, you could be asleep for 20 minutes, you don't know.
Yeah.
I like to play that game. That's how exciting my life is now.
Yeah.
I am single, by the way.
Yeah.
I've got time for nap roulette.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll crack on with the podcast. So today's guest, we've got Baz on. Baz, I was put in touch with Baz we've got a mutual friend who put us in touch, and that's how we got talking. And I went down to see him, and I really liked the things he was saying, and I thought he'd make a really good podcast. So thankfully Baz agreed, and has agreed to come on. So we'll get him on, and we'll see how we get on. So come on, Baz. Here he is. How you doing, Baz? You all right?
Wicked thanks.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, we really
Glad to be
appreciate
here,
it.
to be honest.
So, have you been on podcasts before?
No, this is my first one.
Is it honestly?
Yeah.
First one with
So
us.
I'm still nervous, like it's my first one. So I don't know why it just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So
I
ha-
feel all right, to be fair.
You've been in front of the camera, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll touch upon that. We'll touch upon that a bit later, no doubt. So, how do you feel about being on a podcast? Is it something you're okay with?
I'm really excited about it, to be honest, and I'd like to do quite a few more of them if I can. Because I just think that I've got a decent, a decent story that can help other people.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Just trying to put a good inspirational message out there, because we do recover. We're not stuck like this for life. So you get
Yeah, I love
labelled and
that.
all sorts of stuff, but. I'm living proof. I don't think I'm better than anybody, but I'm living proof that you can sort your life out, And it's like Wednesday. I was 12 years sober.
Yes.
Okay, well, 12 years.
12 years, yeah.
See, oh.
It's it ain't been easy either, but it does get easier. It's
Do you think, Baz, that you get stronger?
yeah.
Life isn't easier, but you get
100%.
stronger, don't you?
100%. I read somebody posted something on Facebook not long ago, and they were saying, you don't understand what it's like being an addict. You have to fight every single day, and it's really dramatic. But it was like they sort of painted a picture, as in, because you're an addict, you're going to be like that all your life, constantly fighting against it. That's bullshit. It really is bullshit, and I'll tell you that now. It's always in the back of your mind, but you just learn to live without things. And it does get easier, I promise.
It
So anybody
does.
out there thinking that, if they're new to sobriety and things like that, and then that's how life's going to be, and they're like, well, God, I'm going to be like this forever, and it's not true. It really is not true. But you've got to put the work in. Nothing ever comes to you for free, really. And it's all about putting the work in.
And if
so-
it just comes to you easy, it's what growth are you going to see from it?
Exactly. And
It's
it's,
not
work.
worth
I
having, is
think
it?
in
Yeah.
early recovery, right at the start, there was a wave of emotion, a bit of a roller coaster. Like you said, as time goes by, life gets great, man.
yeah, it does. Yeah.
Really good.
I've had some amazing opportunities as well. Instead of thinking the world's like a really deep, dark place, when you start doing the things that you want to do with your life, instead of following everybody around like a sheep, going to the pub every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or when it comes to us like weeks, you know, months on the, whatever.
Had a year relapse.
The only reason why I stopped drinking or stopped sniffing is because I run out of money. Otherwise it's just gone forever, don't it?
It always
just,
runs out in the end.
It gets a lot easier. I don't sit there and think, oh God, I need a drink, or nothing like that at all ever enters my head. I'll think about it because there's always an excuse for a drink, isn't there?
Yeah.
Your mate's missus has just had a baby. It's Christmas. It's your birthday. And you even make things up so you can have a drink.
Yeah.
I've just got a pay rise. So let's get wrecked then.
He's just got a pay rise, haven't you, Pete?
Yeah.
Are you going to go on the
Because you've
piss?
had one, I'm going to go out and celebrate. You know what I mean?
We'll all celebrate Pete's pay rise.
I'm going to celebrate because you're celebrating.
So, Baz, how we like to do a podcast, we like to obviously get to know you as an individual, your story, your background, growing up, etc. So, obviously, in your own words, can you tell us a bit about your upbringing, your environment, how you found yourself leading into the world of drugs initially?
Yeah. So, my dad was a drug dealer, but he weren't like some whacked out junkie or anything like that. I don't want to think my dad was this horrible thing or anything, because he's not. Cause my dad's a great guy, but my dad he loved a bit of a smoke.
Yeah.
And just used to smoke the old soap bar and stuff, and
Like draw and stuff.
yeah, and it was just a normal thing in my house. Like how you get up and have breakfast. My dad had a spliff, and and when I could smell draw, soap bar, whatever you want to call it, I when I could smell that when I was a little kid, I knew I'd be able to stay up late, because I knew that my mum was never really into it, but my dad had all his friends round and stuff like that, and he used to sell a little bit. He weren't like Pablo Escobar or anything like that. He just did a little bit for his mates and stuff like that. But
and was your dad quite? Was he the authority in your house?
Yeah,
So-
he never used to knock us about or anything like that. He's got such a powerful, deep voice. He scared the shit out of me, to be fair.
Bit like Pete.
But he was good. He was. We had a normal childhood. I did all the things that normal, we'll say normal kids do, but other kids did. I weren't spoilt or anything like that, but I never really went without things, and it was great. But it was just a normal thing to me, And then when I started,
Where did you grow up, Baz? Was it?
I'm from the Neaton.
You're from the Neaton,
originally,
yeah. Okay.
And then I think I was about 12 and a half when I first started smoking. I tried my first spliff, and then
Why do you think you tried it at that age?
cause all the older kids were doing it, and I knocked about with the older kids, so you think he's dead cool.
Trying to fit in, sort of thing. Yeah.
But then
That's quite a common thing for addicts, isn't it?
It is,
Like,
yeah.
Trying to fit in.
I think a lot of them do try and do that, don't they? I think that was where my addiction started as well. I think a lot of people is like that, isn't it? Just fitting in, doing the same things you mates are doing.
Did you crave acceptance?
Yeah.
I did.
Because there was loads of us as well. See, because all of my mum and dad's friends, they all smoked. It was like a big circle of people, and there was all great, amazing people that I was always looked after by whoever I was with. Brilliant. But they all liked to smoke. I don't know. It's like a '60s thing or something. And then all their kids were my mates, so we all grew up like it together. So then when we'd have parties around their houses and things like that, it was the way things was, and then I got to a certain age where I'll start going to the local drug dealers to buy like a teenth. Remember them?
You can still get teens, Baz.
Oh, can you?
He's been out of the game for 12 years. Teens are still there, Baz.
And Ruffles.
When I was first year at secondary school, about 12, it was draw then. I used to smoke draw, and it was like a culture.
Yeah, there's loads of us doing it. But then, like my dad said to me, he pulled me over one day and he said, "Listen," he says, "I know you're starting to have a smoke and that." He says, "I want you to come and get it off me." And I was like, because he just didn't want me, because there's always people watching dealers' houses, cops and that. So
Yeah.
he didn't want me getting into any trouble. So in his own way, he wanted to look after me. And
And you smoked that first spliff.
Yeah.
Can you remember the feeling it gave you? Can you remember that far back?
Not really, because normally when you first drink or you first smoke, it wipes you out, don't it?
Yeah.
Like when you've tried, I don't know, Thunderbirds or something, I don't know, whatever, it just blows your head off, don't it? But I can't really remember too much. I can remember like it was really harsh because you're not used to smoking.
Not at 12 and a half, Baz.
But it was like, I don't know, and then I started getting it off my dad, and then it was just like a normal thing. So like I'd get up in the morning, buy myself a spliff, or when I come home from work, me and my dad worked at the slaughterhouse, my dad was my boss, and we'd come home, my mum would have like a log fire on, roaring in the winter, and my dad would make a few spliffs, and we'd sit there, and the dinner would come out, and just sit there staring at this fire, real stoned and stuff. But it was great. I had some amazing time smoking.
I would like to go for dinner around Baz's mum.
My mates used to come round my house.
I bet.
I used to have a 7 foot snooker table, and we used to have this big Rasta Blaster ghetto blaster thing. And we used to have all the old Eclipse tapes and stuff. And
Yeah.
I used to go to the Eclipse when I was about 17. And
Is Eclipse? So what's that club?
It was the
Yeah.
big nightclub, yeah.
Yeah.
First legal.
Was that on
24
Gosford Street?
I don't know. I can't remember.
There's a car park now. It's near the flyover.
Yeah.
So I hear people talk about the Eclipse.
Yeah.
We're a bit too young,
I'm
young for
definitely
that.
too-
You're definitely too young for
It was
that.
92 the Eclipse was.
Yeah.
Oh, I was only 6.
It was good. But
I was
then, but then what we used to go, we used to go to raves and things like that, and then it just sort of progressed from there. Really, it just become like a normal thing. But there was loads of us doing it at school.
Is this the crowd from the Nita and you going
Yeah,
out
like
with?
we all grew up together, you know, all through school, and then there was just a big bunch of us all started smoking dope all the time, and then we'd go to like raves and like illegal raves, and then the Eclipse, and then these other little raves and Milwaukee's and whatever. And
What drugs were you on then?
I never really did Class A drugs. I didn't like them; they scared me. This is before I started sniffing. So like,
Yeah,
I then take Class A drugs. Like my mate, some of my
they
mates.
scare me
way
as
into
well,
pills.
Class A's. I'm scared that they're going to run out.
I used to have. I used to have. I used to have like,
And they do run out.
I used to have a bit of speed, I did, and it weren't no good for me, especially sniffing as well, because you can tell I talk quite fast. So when I have any of that, mate, oh my god.
What about the E's? Were you ever into the E's?
I tried them a few times. Went to Ibiza when I was I think it was about 18 or something like that. 3 of us went there, and this Scouse guy gave us some pills, and I think they were Doves, and they was the best.
Probably
pills
Scouts.
I
It's
ever
probably
had.
Scouts. We know.
Oh my god, it was amazing. Absolutely, the feeling that I had off them was unreal. Get your grandma one, she'd love it. I'm telling you, they was amazing, but it weren't really my thing. It was just like a bit of a smoke I did. But then if we went clubbing or raving, I knew that I'd be out all night, so I'd need something to keep me going. So I'd buy probably like half a gram of speed or something. It's the most vilest drug.
Yeah, that's a bad experience.
I've never actually had
Horrible,
speed.
innit?
I've had speed.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's not a pleasurable experience. Speed. Oh, I didn't find it pleasurable anyway.
I was all right on it, but afterwards I used to get really sick.
It's all right on
I
it.
think it's more known for its come down.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, really sicky. I used to get like.
Yeah.
Is that what you used to? Did you put speed in paper and bomb it?
Bomb it,
Yeah, I have taken
Some
that.
people
Yeah.
used to just taste it. Now it's disgusting taste,
Yeah.
vile. It was only about a fiver or something as well, weren't it?
Yeah.
I bet some people put on their cornflakes.
Yeah. I know people that have had speed and they've been up for like a week and that. Which keeps-
Some of the old people from years ago, they've been taking it every single day for like years since
Yeah,
then.
and they're still doing it, yeah.
In the tea.
Yeah.
Some of the old, they have it in the tea in the morning. It's just something they do for the whole life.
Yeah.
Some of the older generations, I know them, they still do it. They still have base in the
Yeah,
tea.
it's horrible.
So how old are you then when these rave scenes? What age are we talking now?
Probably like, I think I went to one in Stoke. I think the first one we went to was in Stoke, Kinetic. Brilliant it was. And I think it was about 16 then, because I'm sure we were still at school. And like one of the lads, his dad dropped us off and that, and we all off our heads, just started taking like speed and things, and like, what, he's sitting in the car.
And how did you find school? I always like to ask this question because my experience at school, I didn't enjoy school.
Yeah.
And I don't think they enjoyed having me either.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult time for me, but I understand now. It's because I used to lie a lot because I wanted to be liked by everybody,
Yeah.
which isn't possible. And I found school a bit of an ordeal. How did you find school?
I love school, to be honest. I got kicked out the last week, but it weren't like nothing.
Oh, that
it
sounds
weren't
good.
bad. It weren't that bad. It was like they reckon they put me on early
I don't think
study
they love
leave.
you then.
Nah, it weren't that bad, but they reckon they put me on early study leave. It was pathetic, really. But I was gutted I was because it was. I'd loved sport at school, like maths and things like that. Absolutely shocking. But we weren't bothered about the GCSEs either because we was too busy going to raves and smoking.
Yeah, was
smoking
you
dope.
stoned through school? I was stoned from start to finish in secondary school.
Not really. I didn't really smoke.
Was you, Pete?
I didn't really
Yeah,
smoke.
no.
So,
You
I
should
know, I didn't know that.
You should have got stoned at school.
Did you ever sit in
No.
the exams or anything?
A couple of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember much.
I smoked weed a couple of times. I was completely
What were you
whitey.
weed
Yes,
about
yeah.
then? It was more draw.
Yeah, I had a
we
bit-
didn't get. We had bush.
Bush.
Some people had a bit of skunk, but it was like.
I used to smoke Sovereign.
Yeah.
Remember Sovereign in the black packet?
Yeah.
Mm.
10
I used to
Sovereign.
smoke them. Yeah, that's like they used to really. They were dead
We used
harsh.
to smoke a
B&H
spliff on
offcuts
break.
they used to.
No, we used to go on break, have a spliff, and then go lessons. Then you'd have another break. We used to get We used to have a Reggie as well. You ever had a Reggie?
Yeah.
With a bottle.
Yeah.
Put the bottle in the water.
Reggie.
Pull a Reggie up.
Yeah.
Big bottle of smoke. Big bottle of smoke like that. And then I poisoned myself off that.
He was only 6 years old then.
That's when I stopped. I had one of them. I had 2 of them actually. And I poisoned myself. I never smoked it again.
Yeah.
Moved
I
quickly
couldn't do
onto
it
the
at school.
drugs. Yeah.
I couldn't do it at school. It's like I was too paranoid of like looking stoned, you know, like, and then like I just didn't do it. So it was like an after school thing. But like I say, I used to have like a 7-foot pool table in the front room of mum and dad's house, and my mates used to come round my house because they was allowed to have a smoke. Because if we'd go round my other friends' houses, like when their mum and dad was out, there'd be loads of us round there. We've all gone like chipped in on an 8 or whatever, and we're all sitting there smoking. Next thing you know, my mum and dad are coming back, and everybody's opening the windows trying to get all the smoke out and everything. I'd be laughing my head off because I was thinking, I don't have to do none of this shit at my house. All my mates would come round my house, and then like we'd put like say like some rave music on or whatever, playing pool like for hours, and then my mum would pop her head round the door and she'd like, do you want something to eat? And she'd make these bacon and cheese
Yeah, the munchies.
batches and that. Like my mates thought that my mum and dad were the coolest parents in the world.
I do.
Honestly, it really was really good. But the and obviously we started to obviously we left school then, so it moved on. But and then that's when I tried coke when I was about 17, and that's when my dad gave me my first line. And but it weren't like that either. It's like I say, I don't need to think that my dad was like banging drugs onto me.
To people, Baz, what you've just said there would be, it's completely alien to them, isn't it? That's like your dad give you drugs.
Yeah.
But since where me, Pete and Sam go, and people that I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
to me, that's not unusual.
Yeah.
It's
But
not.
to people out there, I don't know what we call them people, them non-addicts. What you've just said there is like, wow.
Yeah.
But it's more common than what you would think,
I
isn't
know
it?
loads of people that have been, not just me obviously, but loads of people have said, yeah, I'm my dad.
Yeah,
or,
me
you
and
know.
my man used to have a spliff together.
Yeah.
Like draw as well. Like,
Yeah.
But it was like throughout my family, a lot of people get stoned. We always get stoned together. It's quite normal. Like,
Yeah.
my mates from around mine, and we'd all get stoned in the garage. It was just
Yeah.
like, to me, it's quite normal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's quite normal. Then when I ventured out into the world, to me, drugs was just second nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just moved around different circles. There was nothing I wouldn't try. I was very curious.
Yeah.
And it progressed until it just took me.
Do you think that smoking dope led you onto harder drugs? Because this is a big question, ain't it?
Yeah, of
This
course.
is a massive question.
Yeah. Well,
They call it
I'll get asked this.
a gateway drug, don't they?
Yeah.
But I think
well,
it's
you
probably
know, people's parents, and my mother used to say to me, you know, if you do that, you'll end up on that and then that. And but when I first started taking drugs, it wasn't like the beginning of it wasn't with anyone from my family. It was with friends. I don't know, but I just know that it made me feel very numb to how I was feeling, and I liked it.
Yeah.
So to me, maybe if I hadn't have tried that, I wouldn't have tried other stuff. But I would always try something that someone told me not to.
Yeah.
When I was a little boy, my mother used to say to me, "Don't go around this house. There's a local heroin dealer. Do not go around this guy's house." I went and knocked his
Pete
door.
moved in.
No, I went and knocked his door, man, and my mum dragged me out of there. I remember him giving me a bowl of there was like some cereal or something, and I was thinking, I'm having that. You know, like he was just. But I knew his son. I wanted to go around there.
Yeah.
I was told not to go around there. This guy sold drugs. It was like, this is when I was really small, so he was the only really heroin dealer that he knew of. I wanted to go around there. I was eating the cereal thinking these drugs are shit. I didn't know, but I was told not to. That was me when I was a little boy, told not to, so I did it.
Yeah.
So-
I think it did. I was even though like because I grew up with it and stuff like that, but going to raves and things. Then you see some of my friends like at the time they was doing pills and things like that, and it made me really curious. It made me want to be like. It made me feel boring because they were doing harder drugs, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I'll just smoke a bit of dope here and have hardly ever. But if we ever go to a rave, the Eclipse or wherever, I've got to take a little bit of speed with me just so I sort of fit in.
But
then
then again,
yeah, and it's
Do you reckon you ever think like for me, like my family, they didn't take drugs. Do you know what I mean? So do you reckon it's quite confusing when you're younger? So everyone's saying drugs are bad, then you go home and your family are taking drugs, or do you know what I mean? Even just dope. Do you know what I mean? Do you not think that it can be sometimes confusing, ain't it?
yeah.
When you're
But
younger.
I think because because the way I grew up, we looked at drugs
Differently.
completely different to anybody
Yeah.
else, because
It was
having a
money
smoke,
involved,
it was
right?
just
Yeah.
it was just a smoke, just a smoke. But I don't believe in that. It ain't just a smoke for me, because of my experiences. It ain't just a smoke, because like I say, for me, it led on to harder things.
Mm.
And some people say, like, you know, like for medicinal purposes with cannabis and stuff like that, I'm all for that, you know, because
If
I
it
know,
is-
like, you know,
if it
like
is-
shrinking
if it-
tumours and
If
things.
it's
And,
legitimate.
yeah, but like when it comes to actually smoking dope, it got to a point where it weren't fun anymore for me either.
Yeah.
It's well, I had some great time smoking cannabis, and I mean, like, really belly laughing with my mates, you know, really good times. But then it got to a point where I couldn't look anybody in the eye. You know, I was weren't thinking people were after me and that sort of paranoia, but I just couldn't look at anybody in the eye. It was just, and I hated feeling like that. You know, it's just,
But I knew someone who smoked loads of cannabis and he just become sociably awkward.
yeah,
So like around anyone, he was just
You're
like,
not you anymore, are you?
yeah,
No.
he just didn't want to be around anyone. If he went to a bar or a pub, you knew he just didn't want to be there.
yeah.
Well,
And then they make you paranoid, don't they?
Yeah.
For all the
There's
people
nothing wrong
I
with it, and all of a
yeah.
sudden you're like, oh.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
For all the people I see clean, they don't behave like they did when they were on drugs. That to me says that that's not them.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they behave, the way that I behaved when I was on drugs, like me and you had a chat just before we started. I lived in a flat where the windows were screwed shut. It was my own flat. I don't remember doing it. The letterbox was taped shut. I don't live in a house where my windows are shut now, and the
Yeah.
letterbox ain't taped shut. It's got
Yeah.
loads of bills flying through it. Right. But it just shows like that weren't you. That ain't how we
Yeah.
want to feel. Like.
Because the thing is as well, is whether, when you're taking drugs or whether you're drinking, it takes you away from your personality. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. So like, you know when you have a drink and you start, say you've had, I mean it depends how you handle your alcohol, but say you've had 3 pints and then all of a sudden you start to feel it working. And, and you feel a little bit tipsy, or you know, you get that warm sort of feeling where
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's kicking in a
It's
little bit.
intoxicated, yeah.
Or if
Yeah.
you're having a smoke, you just think, oh, that spliff's kicked in a little bit. So it automatically takes you away from your personality. It takes you away from who you really are. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just you're stoned or
It's
you're
altered you, hasn't it?
yeah. So then you know, some people like they have a drink and they're dead quiet, but when like the very quiet person, but if they've had a drink, they're like really loud and jumping on the tables, and you're like, Jesus Christ, like, you know. But it changes people's personalities. And because I was drinking all the time, I was never who I really was. So if you're taking drugs all the time, like the only time I didn't drink was when I was at work or when I was asleep. So I was never who I was meant to be. Do you know who I really am? Sorry. So therefore, if you're doing it all the time for years and years and years, when you come off drinking or you come off drugs, you have to completely reprogram your whole life
Yeah.
because you don't know who you are. You know, so that's why I made that documentary, called it "Who Am I?" Because I didn't know who I was, because I programmed my life one way, and that was to take drugs and to get wrecked. And I was a professional. You know, if you wanted to get wrecked, come see me. I'll sort you out, because I was really good at it. You know, because I programmed my life that way, and then all of a sudden I've had to stop. Otherwise, I was going to kill myself or do something absolutely, I don't know, whatever. But then, like, all of a sudden, it's like, well, what am I supposed to do now then?
Yeah.
You know,
when you took the sniff for the first time,
yeah.
did that quickly spiral out of control? Were you?
No. It was because years and years ago, my dad said to me that you couldn't get coke. I lived in an Eton, so it's a town, and you couldn't really get cocaine in a town. You had to go to the cities.
Yeah.
And
I think you can get it in the Neaton now.
yeah, I thought I'd say so. By the looks of things.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
But he said you had to get it from the cities. But like my dad, when he gave me that line that time, I felt incredible.
Yeah.
It was so clean, you know. And he said to me about 20 minutes after I'd had it, he said, "You get anything off that? I mean, is it working? Like, is it any good? You know?" And I was just like, when you see people sniffing now and the jaws are going like from side to side and all that, it don't make you do that if it's any good. If it's proper good stuff, it don't make you do anything like that. And I felt so confident.
Yeah.
It was
Exactly
so
how I
clean,
felt when I had
so
my first
clear,
line.
and so like I felt so confident, and it was great, you know. But then we started doing it a lot more. Me and my dad used to go out like on a school night, around his friend's house, and we'd do lines and things like that, and I loved it, you know. But I knew it was wrong, but that added to it, because it was like
It's almost appealing, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know any of my mates that was doing what I was doing.
I don't-
No, I thought.
Sniffing
listening
coke with your dad.
I was getting like the best rave tapes that anybody could sort of get, because what I was into at the time was getting the best rave tapes from like older people that I knew that was going to sort of these raves and to Shelley's and things like that. And then I was sniffing coke with these people and that, and it was great. You know, it weren't pushed on me. I didn't have to have it, but I thought it was super cool. So like I went along with that, and then I stopped. Then I started boxing.
When you say stopped, are we talking stop
Yeah.
drugs completely, or are you just talking
I
about?
think I stopped sniffing, and then
What? How old were you then, Baz?
I can't really remember. I weren't sniffing that long. Couldn't really tell you. But then I stopped smoking dope around about 21. I think it was just before my 21st birthday. And
And was there a reason for that?
it was making me too nervy. It weren't fun anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
Did the opposite.
I couldn't look at people in the eye. I was just like this, and I hated it. My mum always used to say to me,
I
like,
found
you know,
I couldn't look people in the eye clean for a good while.
yeah,
That was a behaviour I had to learn
You know,
again.
you
Yeah.
said, because I had the same experience, you know, when I put down the drugs for real, like, I stopped everything, the alcohol and everything, and then I was just left with me, and I hadn't done that for so long, and I didn't really know who I was. It's a bit of a process, like, finding out who I was.
yeah.
Did you like everything about yourself when you really found out who you were? Like, some of the stuff that with me, I was like, I really didn't think this is who I was. I
Yeah.
think I had this like, in my imagination, I had this like egotistical me that I'd been throughout my using and done all this crazy stuff, and I thought that was me.
Yeah.
And when I stripped it all back, and I am like quite, could say sensitive, and I am quite calm. I didn't know that about me.
Yeah.
When you were stripped back and you were just left with yourself, were you comfortable with who you were? Like, did you enjoy your own company? When
It took ages.
Yeah.
It took absolutely ages because, like I said earlier, you've programmed your life one way, and that was just getting wrecked, and you didn't know nothing else. Then all of a sudden, it was like somebody flicked a switch saying, right, you're not allowed to drink anymore, and you're not allowed to take any drugs anymore, starting from now.
Yeah.
Because I knew that if I carried on, I'd have killed myself. I was so suicidal. It was unbelievable.
If this is at 21.
No, this was like about 12 years ago.
12 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
When I was like with all the suicide and stuff like that. But
So you stopped weed at 21.
yeah, I stopped everything. By 21, I weren't using.
Yeah.
I weren't drinking.
You
I
were
was hardly
boxing then?
drinking. I was boxing, and then I got a job at. It's mad, right? Because I haven't been round here for years and years and years, and I went on a date last week, and I picked this girl up from the garage on the main road,
The Texaco.
Texaco garage.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Just as you go in that little alleyway thing there, there's like a little housing estate there, and I had to pick this girl up from round by there, and I ain't been there since there used to be like an engineering place there. It
Yeah.
got burnt down, and I used to get bullied there by this guy, one of the managers that used to obviously be a manager there, and he never used to obviously physically bully me, but he used to mentally bully me for a long time. And when I used to leave work, I used to go, at 7 o'clock in the morning, I used to go on my mountain bike back home to the Neaton, but then I'd wait for the pub to open, which was round the corner, and then I'd start drinking. I'd pack my boxing in because I'd had this job opportunity, an apprenticeship, and then it just got worse because the bullying was getting worse. I just started drinking more, and then next thing you know, when they say it creeps up on you,
Yeah.
it was like that basically. And then I found myself, because I only used to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, thought I'd have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning off. So just get hammered, mate, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Next thing it got me.
How did the date go?
Say again.
How did his date go?
Say again.
You went on a date last week.
Oh yeah.
How did it go? All
Yeah,
right.
it was wicked actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you take her?
Yeah. She come up to. I live in a cottage in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
And
That sounds.
it does, innit? But it's like it's really nice, mate.
This is being recorded, Baz. You know that, don't you?
It's nice, mate. We had
Cottage.
went out for a nice walk around the countryside and all that sort of thing, and made us something to eat and stuff like that. But yeah, it went wicked. It's really nice.
Oh, good. That's good.
When you were drinking, when this guy was giving you grief at this job, were you escaping how you felt?
Oh God, yeah. I'm not a violent person. I've boxed like nearly since I was 13. I only had a couple of fights. I've never really get into any bother or anything like that. But I was so angry, and I just wanted to batter him because like I'm always nice to other people. I horrible to anybody, and he really made my life like hell basically. So like I didn't know what else to do because I needed help doing this job that I didn't understand, and I weren't really getting. People were trying to help me, but I found it really hard, and he just weren't nice to me. So in the end, I flipped, and I basically said to him, "Listen, if you keep carrying on, you're going to get it." And then the other guys that I was working with, they stuck up for me because they knew he was taking the piss. And then he left me alone for a couple of weeks and started again and this and that, and then the place got burnt down, and then we moved to Bermuda Industrial Estate, and then I ended up leaving because it just weren't working for me. I had to go and do something else because it was just horrible. So
And throughout that period, do you know where you said the drinking, the drug taking was getting worse? You know, like with the drink and the coke, sometimes the people just binge a lot on them sort of,
yeah,
you know, on them sort of drugs. Do you know? So was it an everyday thing?
yeah. So but I weren't sniffing. I was just drinking, and then it was all the time. It was. It's like I say, most of the time, the only time I weren't drinking was when I was asleep or as if I was at work. I was just, and it got really out of control. And then I was with somebody at the time, and we bought a house, and obviously I weren't going nowhere, but she weren't going nowhere with me. I was never violent or anything like that, but it was we split up. She wanted a family and all that sort of thing, and I was just getting drunk all the time, and it was just a mess. And fair play to her, she left. I let her keep the house. Well, we agreed that she was going to keep the house. I think I ended up with about £5,000 out of the house. I think we bought it for 56 or something like that, and I think she sold it for about 100 or something. And she's moved on with her life and everything now, and you know, fair play to her because she deserved so much better than me, you know. So you know, I was just a mess, and I just went back to my mum's.
So can we talk about now? So we're going to go back 12 years ago now, when you put down everything. Can you describe your life at that point? What led you to seek recovery? What was going on in your life at that time?
I literally broke. It got to a point where I was about £25,000 in debt.
Through addiction related stuff, or just numerous things?
You've always got to know where your next drink's coming from or your next line. So like, I was getting loads out
100%,
left, right and centre, and you know, and I was selling things, buying mountain bikes, never really use them, like good mountain bikes as well, sell them, just so I got money, and it was just out of control. And then I broke one day. I'd been out for weeks. I don't know what I was doing or anything like that, and I've been sniffing, and it's funny, but it's not. It made me laugh. But so one night, the girl I was with at the time, she's at work. I was just a mess. I was at home. I got this big, massive carving knife. Thought that's it. Had enough. Can't do it anymore. And I really was. I thought I'm just a worthless piece of shit. There's no point in being here whatsoever. I'm an embarrassment to myself, my family. I'm better off just do one, you know. So I've got this knife, and I'm sitting there, and I've got this knife like this. I'm not joking you. The blade on it's like this, and I've got the knife here like this, and I'm like, the idea was to just go 1, 2, 3, boom, and just let it go. Game over. Wasted, just worthless piece of shit. Best off out of the way. And every time I got the knife and I went like that, I'd go, hey up! Because I couldn't do it. It was too sharp. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, it was just terrible. Then I started cutting myself. I had like little cuts on my arms. And for some bizarre reason, I had to cut myself 100 times. Don't ask me why, but it was just like little nicks in my arm, and it was all over me. And then when I sat in the bedroom window, looking out onto the street, we didn't have no curtains up there or anything. And it was about 11 o'clock at night or something like that. And my ex-girlfriend, she'd come home from work, she got dropped off, and I'm sat in the front room on this chair, covered in blood. She didn't know. She seen me at the front window. She just waved, and I'm sitting there like, gone. She's come in the bedroom, turned the light on. There's blood all over the place, and she's screaming like, "Oh my God!" Like, you know. So I've gone into the other room, and there's a big jar of pills on the side, massive jar of pills, and I'm on my hands and knees begging her, just saying, "Can you just take it away?" I couldn't do it anymore.
Did you generally want to die at that point in your life?
100%, absolutely. And but to be in that position, I know I sort of joke about it a little bit. It's not really funny, but I can sort of joke about it a little bit.
Sometimes humour is a good way of talking about such things, isn't it?
But then she said to me, I'm proper on my hands and knees, begging her to take this, whatever it was, away, because I just can't handle it. She's crying, worried, I've gone over to the other side of the room, I've grabbed this massive jar of pills, and I'm pouring these pills in my hand, and I'm wolfing them down me. And she's going screaming, going, no, no, no. And there's loads of just going all everywhere, eating them. Do you know what they were? Calms. Like herbal medicine to make you go sleep. Like, but I know that sounds a bit funny. We'd still talk about it, and we still laugh about it, because it's just a mad thing. But it could have been something a lot worse.
Well,
Like,
kill
wouldn't
you,
we?
but you feel it. I took loads from before. You
Yeah.
do feel something from but it wouldn't kill you.
My sister said to me once, she goes, my sister said, she's got to make you chilled for about 6 months. Really. You know what I mean? But then my ex-girlfriend, she said to me, we would go to the AA. You know, if I ring the AA, will you go to the AA? And I was like, I'll do anything. I'll do anything. And then this old guy come and pick me up. His name was George. He was in his 70s at the time, and he used to go to meetings, like, because some people have to go to meetings like all day, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Like, to just to feel safe. So he's come and picked me up. He's a Scottish guy, and it was like my guardian angel. And he took me to a meeting in, I think it was Hinckley in a church.
This is AA.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, because I know loads of people, and I'm like, I'm bound to know somebody there, but I daren't go. And I thought, I've got to go. I need to do something, because I can't keep living like this. As soon as it gets there, the bloke that's making the tea lives around the corner from my mum. It's like, you're fucking joking me. But then I'm thinking, hang on a minute, why is he here?
You're all there for the
Do you know what I
same
mean?
reason,
You
aren't
know, like, but then, because I never knew what was wrong with me. I knew I was drinking too much. I knew I was taking drugs too much and all that, but I didn't think that I had a problem, as mad as it sounds. And then there's one guy, he was doing a share, and when he was telling his story, I'm thinking, fuck, I'll do that. I'll go there. I'll say them things. You know what I mean?
Identified with it all.
Yeah, and then I started crying, not really bad, but just little tears coming down my eyes, because it was like, fucking hell, now I know what's wrong with me. Now I understand what's going on.
And you know you're not alone.
Yeah.
It's very
it was
comforting
good.
for
And
people.
The people there were brilliant to me as well. There's all giving me the phone numbers and that, like saying, if you want to get, if you need any help, make sure you ring this number, I'll be there for you, and all this, and it was so good. But I only went to about, I think it was about 5 or 6 meetings, and then I stopped it.
Why was that?
I don't mean no disrespect to the AA or anything like that. It works for millions of people, but for me, it didn't. I didn't get on with it. I found it a bit deep for me. It depressed me sometimes as well, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do my own little thing, and I did. I never went to another meeting.
What was that? What did you do?
All I did
What
was
were your main factors in getting
keeping
well?
busy. So like when people say, "Oh, how did you get off?" and I've only got the answers that help me. You know, if I haven't got all the answers, and I get people that do ask me, and I'm sort of, look, I can help you as much as I can, but this is what worked for me. Keeping busy. It didn't matter what I did. If it meant me mowing next door neighbour's garden, to stop me thinking. Exercise, fitness is massive. I train all the time. I train twice a day some days.
Brilliant.
And then I met Jeff Thompson, and then it sort of went from there. And I did some master classes with Jeff. And if anybody knows Jeff Thompson from Coventry,
He knows his stuff, doesn't he?
he's an amazing guy. He's and not just Jeff. There's so many other people out there like Glenn Smith, who's my boss at Red Corner Gym. Tony Summers, Matty Evans, Big Paul Hudson. There's loads of people I could go on about it forever. But what I did is to surrounded myself with amazing people, real good things. I used to have really violent books, like football hooligan books and stuff like that at home, because I was so angry inside. And I bought this book one day called Watch My Back. Never heard of Jeff Thompson in my life. Never seen Jeff Thompson or anything like that. And I was in Waterstones and I seen this bloke on the front cover. He's got bald head, bounces, like a
Dickie Bow and that.
yeah, Dickie Bow and that,
Yeah.
and he's got a knuckle duster like that. And I thought, that's violent, I'm buying that. Do you know what I mean? Because it did. And then it turns out, when you look through this book, there's Matty Evans in it, there's Tony Summers, there's John Anderson, there's a few other people that I know. And I'd never seen these people in my life. But then as time's gone on, these all become my friends in this book. And I've never seen these people in my life. And then all of a sudden, Tony Summers is an amazing counsellor, but he's become a real good friend of mine, and then he's helped me doing his little bit of counselling stuff that he does, and he's really, really helped me. And then obviously Jeff, and then Matty Evans become a real good friend of mine, and John and stuff like that. But surrounding myself by really good, positive, strong people. Not so much physically, but in mentally.
And do you tackle it day by day? Is it like each day is the most important for you to get to bed clean and sober?
No.
Do you still have that sort of thinking?
Don't get none of that whatsoever. Because this is what I mean. It's like some people think that like you're going to be like this forever, and I'm telling you now, it's not true. You really can live a normal. I used to crave to be normal, you know, like whatever normal's supposed to be. But like, it really does. Your life, you've got to put the work in though. If you don't put the work in, you're going to get nothing back. If you're expecting things to come and help you, it's not coming. You know, life's hard, life's tough, but you've got to put the work in to be able to reap the rewards. And some days, sorry, go.
I was going to just say, do you almost forget that was your life before?
Sometimes I had this conversation the other day, and sometimes you forget how far you've come. You know, sometimes I get down just like anybody else, but some days when I'm down, I'm like, somebody will say something to me or something, and it'll bring me back out of it a little bit, and I'm like, think about how far you've come. You know, like I've come so far, and I've had so many amazing opportunities. It's been incredible.
I suppose where we go, we go to the 12-step fellowship meetings and really enjoy them, but you can't forget, can you? It's a constant reminder of.
I can identify with surrounding yourself with strong characters mentally.
Yeah.
I believe that some of the meetings we go to, I am surrounded by people who are mentally strong and have become strong and very knowledgeable about this stuff. So in a way, we are surrounded by people who are like that. You know?
Yeah.
I know of some of the people you've mentioned.
Yeah.
And if them people are in your circle, you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I quite like that, you know, that thing where we're constantly reminding of ourselves of our past and problems. I would like to get a life where I have more balance, where there'd be days like Baz, where an addict doesn't even come into my head.
Yeah,
It's
it's there. I promise you
Yeah,
now.
I don't have them days. It's always on my
will.
mind.
You will have them
But
days.
that's because our program is designed
we
like
get
that.
taught about building a support network of
Yeah.
people, which you just spoke about, and even though you don't go to the meetings, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Build your support network of good people around you.
Do you know what I think as well? What happens as well? I've got to say this. I don't mean to put in, but I've got to say it because.
Oh, you put in, Baz. It's your podcast.
You want to hear it, man?
People forget, right? People forget. I think I was terrible for it, and I don't say it's a bad thing, but people live in their struggle too much sometimes, instead of enjoying where you are. You know, like I was terrible for it for a long time, and it's like, enjoy it, Baz. You're not like that anymore. Enjoy it instead of being like stuck in this, like, I'm an addict, I'm an alcoholic, or I've got, you know, gambling or sex problem, whatever your voice is, you know. But try and enjoy it more, you know. It's instead of, yeah, I'm an addict.
Like
and
dwelling in it. Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, try and enjoy where you are at the minute, you know. Like,
I would like to hear where we go. But I know it's great where we go. I'd like to hear more people say, "I've had a great day today."
Yeah.
We don't hear it, do we? Really?
No.
It's
Sometimes people don't want to say it. 'Cause
Yeah,
there's that many
'cause
people
I
having a bad
understand,
day.
yeah.
People having a good day think, I don't want to say that because these people don't. I'm the only one in here had a good day, like, so it don't get said. But one thing about a support network, like with the groups we use, with the support network, mine gets bigger and bigger all the time. One thing that I would never change is when I talk to people who are quite new in, I always learn about myself.
Yeah.
Like, we're all a mirror of each other. And as I talk to people who are learning how to get clean, it does keep me clean.
yeah,
And as they tell me about them, I always, you know, something clicks in my head and think, they were my behaviours, man. And I'm learning more about myself. Like, you know, when we stripped the drugs away, we left them just us.
yeah,
I've learnt who I am from listening to who other people are.
yeah.
And that's been a massive factor for me. Like, I love your approach to it. Love it.
You've got to have like, I ain't saying you've got to do anything, but like what I did is I had to completely reprogram my whole life. So, like when you look back at things of how I was, I used to listen to really deep music, like, you know, like Stony music and stuff, because I grew up with like the Stones, Bob Dylan, Pink Floyd, that sort of thing, and like I used to listen.
These
to
are
stuff
bands from the 70s.
Like-
Sam.
I've heard of some
They're
of
quite
And it
big
was like-
bands.
I used to, like, I'd listen to stuff like that, but it was like and it was great at the time, but like I started to step back and have a look at what I was actually listening to, or what I was reading and things like that, and it was like very deep. So I changed everything. I changed what I read. So I'd have Wayne Dyer books, I'd have Eckhart Tolle, loads of other things I can't think off the top of my head, but really, really inspirational books. But what I'd do is I'd leave them lying around the house, and then I'd have happy music on, you know, like not just happy music to put you in a better mood.
Not Morrissey.
You know, oh God, no.
All the things you were putting in your mind through your ears, through your eyes,
Yeah.
they're all negative.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience. Like everything I listened to was like drug-based rap, like rapping about drugs and violence. The films were all documentaries on murderers or criminals. I remember my partner said, all you do is listen to music about crack or watch films about people killing each other.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? I want to make a new playlist. And it was quite older music as well, but it was all just like happier music, like you said. And I just cut all them films out. And
Music is a
saying,
very powerful
"You're gonna
tool.
watch Queen of
Yeah,
the South
yeah.
and all that stuff." And I'm like, no, I've seen it all. I've been around all that shit, and it bores the head off me. And I don't want to. If I start watching that shit, I get ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That looks great. That looks appealing. Watch a few comedies and stuff. You know, have a good laugh.
I'm gonna start listening to Flow Rider.
You really
Yeah.
identify with what you said there. I think that's a great thing to put out there.
Instead of like, because they say, don't they? You know what you read. You know who your friends are. There's
Going in, isn't it?
There's one thing somebody says. There's a quote saying, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future." You know, and it's the same. It's the same as with what you read. You know, you're basically feeding your mind with information. So feed it with inspirational stuff, motivational stuff that makes you feel good, stuff that makes you feel good, and not what you think that everybody else might think's good.
And talking of motivational stuff,
Brilliant.
yeah. What's that? Show me your friends, show me your future.
Show
Write
me
that
your
down
friends,
for the
yeah.
project. We'll make out ourselves. Talking about motivational stuff, I want to talk a bit about your documentary
Yeah.
now. So you've got a documentary that's, I don't know too much about it. I know that it's going to film festivals. So if you
Yeah,
just want to
so-
elaborate a bit on your documentary
so-
for us.
Just before COVID happened, me and my friend Steve Reynolds, he's a film director, and a filmmaker. He's a good friend of mine, and I used to talk to him about my story here and there, and because he's got the think outside the box sort of thing
Yeah.
with the film, you know, that he's like, we ought to get this on film, you know, and it's something I've always wanted to do, and he said to me, yeah, we'll go for a coffee and talk about it, but we never did, and then after COVID, the gyms opened back up after lockdowns and things like that, and I think it was last August time when it was boiling up, you know, it's 30 degrees.
Yeah.
He says, we started talking about it, and he said, fuck it, let's do it. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And,
Really?
So I was so excited about it, because I know what he does, because
Yeah.
he's got a film on Netflix called Vendetta that stars Danny Dyer. He wrote and directed that. He's really good at what he does. And he said, next week, he says, don't want to talk about it anymore. So we avoided each other for a week on purpose. I didn't know what he was going to ask me. And we come in on one Sunday. We got in the boxing ring. We got a camera facing that way, one facing that way. Got it all lit up. Got me mic'd up. And he says, and I'm sitting there thinking, what's he going to say? And he said, right then. And away we went, and it was all done in one take. So it was just a conversation. And he was firing these questions at me, and I was answering them as honest as I could. And then we went out one night filming all around Coventry in my car, get some of those cinematic shots now.
Yeah, I've seen I've seen you going up the Spon End steps.
Yeah, it's wicked.
Yeah.
We had to wait. Going up them Spon End steps, we had to wait because we parked my car.
For a dealer.
No, there's a load of lads. There's a load of lads up on the bridge, like
Yeah.
a big gang of lads. So we had
Yeah.
to wait for them to go because we've got all this camera equipment and that.
Yeah, you don't want to get
Thought
robbed.
We're going to get done in here. You know what I mean? So we had to wait, like, and we drove through Spon End as well.
I would have gone for one of each.
Oh mate, drove through Spon End on the night time, and it was just like, there's no way on this earth that I'm getting out of my car. No way.
Bad spot then,
Oh my god, it was unreal. But I'd never been round there before, but it was just an eye opener. But yeah, then we did all the conversation. We did that in one complete take, and then we went all round Cov City. It was up, I think at one point we were on top of the multi-storey car park, and the sun was just coming down, and I'm shadowboxing, and as the sun's coming down, and it's like it looks like a silhouette type of thing with the sun and that. It's a wicked shot. But yeah, then we I wanted it to go to some film festivals. I didn't know how you did anything like that, and then I found out how you did that. You go onto a thing called Film Freeway, set up your profile, and then that gives you access to thousands of film festivals all over the world. And what I wanted to do is get into some film festivals so we could win some awards, hopefully, and because I think it's got a really good message and it can help a lot of people. Because by winning an award, it then becomes an award-winning documentary, and I just think it sits up and stands a bit stronger. So if I'm trying to get it into unis or schools or wherever, I can then say, listen, I've made an award-winning documentary, and then what I did before we did the festival thing, I had a premiere at Cov Uni at the Hub, and there was about 200 people came.
That's where we were.
Brilliant.
And it was
place.
amazing. Jeff Thompson was there, Tony Summers, all the lads from the gym, all the girls from the gym, my friends, they brought friends. We raised about 500 quid on the night. The woman from Mind come, and she bought this little Tupperware box thing, thinking she was going to get about 20 quid or something. And she's got this massive pile of money of people just chucking, I think we raised about 430 quid or something like that. And she was buzzing, for Mind, yeah. And then I had this, obviously had the premiere light, and so many people coming up to me crying, saying that was just unbelievable. Got one person come up to me saying, do you know what, I didn't really want to come because I thought it was going to be about boxing. She goes, but my son's going through a similar sort of thing, and I'm so glad that you gave me the opportunity to come and see this. And then I've had people inbox me that I don't even know, offering to pay me to go around their house to show them a documentary to their son.
Well, that sounded like it was going in a completely different direction.
So people are touched by this sort of thing, though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's mad.
That surprised me more than anything since we've launched our project on social media.
Yeah.
People's response to it,
Yeah,
it hasn't been as I thought it would be. I thought it'd be, you're just a bunch of fucking drug addicts.
yeah.
We still
But
think about that one response.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Do you know what I think it is? My personal
There's more
opinion.
compassion out there than you think.
Yeah, I think it's honesty.
Yeah.
Honesty
Yeah.
goes so far, because you could sit here and you could like try and sugarcoat things and not really talk about how it really is, but then it's not real.
No one wants to hear that. But
No.
shit, do they?
I'm a raving cokehead.
Yeah,
That's my reality.
Yeah.
But now I'm just raving.
yeah. But it's
So
like
it's
you're
not
saying though,
great.
it does go away. I'm living proof that it does go away, but it's it does get easier, and if people think that it doesn't, I'm telling you it does.
So-
It's not,
I'm listening to this podcast now. I don't see a way out. I'm an addict. I'm the only one in the world. What would your message be to this individual, to be people out there who, like you 12 years ago, in that same place of pain? What would you like to say to them?
it sounds probably sounds simple, but it's not. But look, just don't give in. I'm living proof that I'm just the same as anybody else. I'm no different to anybody else. I'm nothing special, and it's just that I've refused to give in. And there's been times when I did want to give in, but I didn't because I was desperate to see the other side. I used to see other people, other friends, they've got nice holidays and all these sort of things, and I used to think, why can't I have that? Surely, I want all them things. So, but I was desperate to see what was on the other side, because I know there's another side, because I see happy people. Not everybody's just like suicidal like me, because I was in such a bad way, but I was desperate to see. So then what I did was I had to completely change. If you want big changes, you've got to make big changes.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Nobody's coming to save you, because most people don't understand about addiction anyway, really. So you've got to put the hard work in. But life's not as horrible as what you may think it is when you're in a mess with addiction, because there really is a different side to life. The world's full of so many different opportunities and things and places to see and do, and and I always say, I said it in my documentary, like can you remember the old sweet shops you used to get with big jars of sweets?
Yeah, I used to wear them out.
Yeah. And I used to go, I call it the sweet shop of life. Do you know, so like, it got to a point where it was like, I want to try that, and I want to go there, and I want to see what that's like, and just want to try all these different things, because there's that many opportunities out there for you to see and things to do, and all you got to do is just keep going. My friend Tony Summers, he said to me once, just keep going, Baz, and that sticks in my mind all the time. Keep going. You're always going to get things that are going to try and take you off your alignment with where you're going, but it's how quickly you get back on. And sometimes you feel like you're going to be stuck, but keep going, because I'm living proof that if I can do it, I really, honestly, 1,000,000% believe that anybody else can too.
And it's that reaching out, isn't it? So that's why the big part of our project is to have somewhere where people can come to and reach out to. So for anyone listening who's struggling at any time, honestly, they can contact the project at any time, can't they?
Yeah.
You can get us on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, all the podcasts on
This
YouTube.
is, for me, 'cause I've never done this before, but for me, this has been brilliant because it's just like it's like a bunch of lads just talking about but being real. You can have a laugh about it too. It's not all got to be dead serious and stuff. You can talk about like
Having a laugh is
you know,
imperative for me because
Yeah.
that's where my personality is. Sometimes people get confused with my humour, like I don't care, but that's how I
yeah.
This
That's how
podcast is very real.
process
and
it.
that's how it should be, you know. And it's like, you know, you're pulling no punches sort of thing, and it's good for everybody to hear people talking about the truth. You know, it's I've had some great times drinking and taking drugs, but you know the bad times outweigh the good by a lot. You
Yeah,
know,
I agree.
but there is a better future out there for every single person. If anybody thinks that they can't have a normal life, whatever you want to call that, you really can. You know, and I'm living proof that you can.
And we've got 4 addicts on site at a factory after hours who ain't here to rob the place.
Yes.
That is change, isn't it? So Baz,
Did have a look.
yeah, always have a scout round. So Baz, I just want to say a big thank you for coming on. And I
Brilliant,
know
loved
that you work at Red Corner Gym and
Yeah.
you do a lot of good work there in the community. And I went down there and I thought it was a
Yeah.
really good environment. So honestly, I wish you and Sam and Peter wish you
Yeah,
it
definitely.
all the going
Absolutely
luck.
loved it.
Yeah, it's been
Really,
great.
really did.
And I hope your documentary does really well in its things. And
Thank you.
I certainly want to watch that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I might tell you what, if it's all right with you, Baz, because we're going to do a day program, we might show your documentary to the residents of the house, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll get you to come
Yeah,
down and do a bit of a
definitely.
Q&A. I think that.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that off camera. I'm talking
Yeah, yeah.
shop now, and we don't want to talk about that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no
I
problem.
think with that we'll wrap this podcast up. But so thank you again, Baz. Really enjoyed it, guys. Anything you want to say before we
Just
sign
thank
off?
you. Yeah, just
Yeah,
thank
fa-
you.
Nice
Just
one.
thanks for letting me come on. I've absolutely loved it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's
Great,
it's
man.
been brilliant, and it's you just got to keep going. You know, just keep going.
And if you are struggling out there with addiction, you are not alone. Please don't hesitate in reaching out to Dynamo Project, and we'll do all we can to support you. Yeah.
You still need to finish off, mate.
What
Yeah.
with?
Dynamo.
Dynamo. Dedicate yourself now, and miracles occur. I'd come up with that. I read it off my dad's t-shirt. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yelling at the moon.